In this episode, we're going to be checking out the Unimig Viper 185 and bundle kit with stand and a few other accessories. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Rob and this is my garage with my 1969 Project Falcon here. Today in this episode, we're going to be looking at the Viper 185 Unimig MIG, stick and TIG inverter welder, and we're going to also look at the bundled accessories that come with this kit. So this kit was $999. I bought this with my own money, so this is not a sponsored review or anything like that. This is just my own money. I wanted something that I can do some repairs on the car myself, or at least have a go at it. Anyway, let's unbox this and let's take a look at what's in the packaging. Right, one thing I did notice, now I'm looking through everything, there's actually something missing, and that is the little welding stand that this welder goes on, and you can put all your bits and pieces in. So Australia Post did forget to give me that one. There's a bit of confusion with the number of packages I got on that day, so apparently it's coming in a few more days. Okay, so a few things you want to know about this welder is that it's a MIG, TIG and stick welder, so 3-in-1 multi-process welder. It comes with a 2-year warranty and is spool gun ready for MIG with aluminium, because the aluminium wire is a bit harder to feed through. You can do it through a spool gun, so it's spool gun ready, and it has a plug at the front, has the geared wire drive, and then you've got a 10-amp plug, so it's just quite good for using at home. So you don't need any special plugs or anything. It just plugs into your standard socket. Here in Australia, just plug it in the wall and away you go. Okay, so to understand what this welder is capable of doing, primarily I'm going to use it for MIG, but it will do TIG as well. So it'll do MIG welding thickness between 1mm and 10mm. For TIG, you can do between 1mm and 6mm, and for stick, it is between 2 and 10mm. Okay, so looking at the front of the Unimig 185, we can see some connections here. So these are your positive and negative outputs, output terminals, and you've got your Euro connector. I think this is where your MIG gun goes in. You've also got your spool gun connector here. If you're doing aluminium MIG, your spool gun would connect into there. We've also got our polarity cable, so it'll go either positive or negative depending on your welding setup. And yeah, that's basically the bottom section here. Looking at the top here, we've got our amps and voltage. So I believe this is for your MIG, your stick and TIG. You've got your amp control. This is your voltage control for MIG, and your wire speed control for MIG here as well. You've also got an your amp display and your voltage display at the top here. You've got a power LED and an overvolt protection. I think this is if it overheats. I'm not sure what VRD is. I'll have to look at the instructions. And then you've got your switch to obviously switch between stick, TIG or MIG. And that pretty much covers the front control panel. Now looking at the back of the welder, pretty straightforward really. You've got your power switch here. You've got your connection. This actually undoes. This is your power cable. You've got your gas inlet. So there's a cable or a hose that you've got to clamp onto here for your gas inlet. You've got a fan in behind here, and you've got some warning labels and some, I guess some information there. and that pretty much covers the the back of the welder. So when we look at the side of the Viper 185, you've got these little panel switches here. So you just got to press down on both of these and the door will open. Then you've got a placard in here on your welding setup, which gives you a bit of a guide on how to set it up depending on whether you're doing steel or stainless. A few different settings for either stick, TIG or whatever. Some of your consumable part numbers by the looks of it. And then it gives you your polarity for depending on whether you're doing MIG, TIG or stick. So yeah, it kind of tells you how you need to set up your cable so you don't set it up incorrectly. Okay, so looking inside the machine, we can see we've got our spool, wire feeding spool holder here. We also have a burn back adjustment. So I believe this is the amount of MIG wire that's going to be sticking out of the tip of your MIG gun. So you can adjust this, how far that you want that to come out. You've got a feed, this is a feed button. So you can just press this to spool the wire through, I believe. Then you've got whether you're using a spool gun or a standard. So obviously just for your normal MIG gun, you'll use that. If you're using a spool gun, you switch it over. And then we have the wire feeder down here with some adjustments and how to connect it. Okay, so here we have the cable and holder for doing, you know, just basic stick welding. This is kind of what I've done in the past, so this is what I'm most familiar with, although I don't plan on ever actually using it. So this cable here is about 3 meters long, I believe. This feels quite solid and hefty, but probably something I'll use probably pretty rare. But anyway, you get that in the box with the welder. Okay, so here's your MIG torch that comes with the welder. I believe this cable here is 4 meters, so that's quite long. There's a Euro connector. You got your switch there. There's your tips and stuff. And it's got a bit of a swivel here, I guess, to give you a bit of flexibility in the cable so that can kind of move around. So that feels pretty good, although I've got nothing to compare it to because I've never actually done any MIG. All right, here we have the earth clamp. So this is a 3 meter cable, so it's pretty decent length. Feels pretty decent quality. That's what she looks like. Got a bit of clamping force. I believe this is 300 amp, it says. It's an earth clamp. So there you go, there's the earth clamp that you get with it. 3 meters long. So here is the regulator. I believe this is a regulator for a MIG as far as I understand. I don't know if TIGs use the same one, but I think this might be MIG only, but I could be wrong on that. But it will measure the pressure in the bottle, I believe, and then what your or your bottle pressure coming out and going into your torch is going to be. So I believe that goes into this section over here. This will go into your gun. So it's an argon regulator. And here is the gas hose that you connect into the back of your welder, and then obviously the other bit will go to your regulator. So you've got an additional fitting here. I believe that would go into the end of the hose. That would be used there, and then I think there's these fittings here have to be clamped onto the hose, but I think you need a particular set of pliers or something that actually clamps those down from videos I've seen. And we also have another drive roller here, so you can see, I believe they have numbers on the side somewhere. Okay, besides the spool gun for aluminium welding with MIG, you also can get this TIG torch, which is one of the things that came extra in the pack that I paid extra for. So this is the TIG torch that you actually get with it. So this is for doing TIG for steel, mild steel and stainless, I believe. This welder is not really designed to do aluminium TIG. Kind of like the idea of giving TIG a go, but we'll have a quick look at what's in the box. So here we've got our TIG torch. You can see there your gas line. You got your connector there, and with the consumables, I guess, in this little bag here. So there you go. That's your TIG torch. You got your gas adjustment here, and you put your consumables in there. So it looks like they've given us Can't remember what these are called, electrode or whatever they call these things. A few other things that come in the kit that are useful. Obviously you've got your leather gloves here to protect your hands, mainly from MIG or stick welding. Obviously you need some good leather gloves to protect your hands. It does get kind of hot, so you want to do that. Then you also get this MIG wire. So this kit actually came with a mild steel one, and I think this is the one that is required for gas, because that's kind of what I wanted. And then you also get this starter kit here with some consumables in there. So I guess you'll be using some of these. They'll wear out, so you got a couple of consumables that they provide as part of the set. And also give you, I guess, some welding pliers, which I've never used before. So yeah, pretty cool to have a starting point for having somewhere to store your consumables, and also a couple of replacements, and then somewhere to put your refills when you get them. Okay, and the last thing that come with the kit is the Chaos helmet by Unimig as well. So it says professional automatic welding helmet. It has 4 arc sensors, which is why I opted for this kit. Some of them only have 2. You can see here, you can see the 2 at the top, and I believe there's 2 at the bottom. So they're obviously required to switch it from being able to see while you're not welding and then going dark when you are welding. It has 9 to 13 level shade control to control the darkness. And it also has a battery backup because you don't want to get arc flash, strike your weld up and then find out that it doesn't go dark. One of the things also worth mentioning is the lens and what you're going to see through it. Now, I've welded quite a long time ago, just doing stick welding, and I can understand the difference between the green tint and a more natural color. So I'm assuming that the true color lenses are much better than what I had, but I had a gold lens in my helmet from years ago, and I remember seeing the original lens was this green sort of tint. When I changed to the gold lens, based on the advice of my welding teacher at the time, yeah, it was night and day. So this is a pretty cool feature where you're going to see much more natural colors, and it's going to be more true to life. You're not going to get this green tinge, and it's actually going to be more likely a bit easier to see what you're doing with your weld and the arc. So once you open the box, it comes in this plastic bag, which is good. So it's obviously being well protected. So you can see the helmet out of the box. It's actually got some really cool graphics on here. I really like that, and I think this is a bit of a bestseller, so I've heard. So looks like you have your adjustment here on the side. You've got your lens here, and you can see there's 2 sensors at the top and 2 sensors at the bottom, and I believe that is a solar panel of some sort that possibly recharges the battery, but I'll have to look that up. Looks like there might be a film cover on that you need to take off. That's, yeah, you can kind of see it there. So that obviously needs to come off to get the clarity through the screen, otherwise it'll be a bit blurred. I love that there's a guitar on there. I don't mind enough. And then there's another adjustment here just for the tension on your head, and then you have, it looks like various shade settings, like how dark you want it. You can see that there. And then you have a grind mode, which you can flick to that. So if you just want to use it during grinding, you can use it there, which will stop it going dark when the sparks start flying, just for grinding. So you can kind of use this for both welding and grinding, which is cool. So it's worth pointing out how the adjustment works. So pretty standard kind of helmet head strap. I just recently threw my old one, which I was using for stick welding quite a long time ago, which was very similar to this, but I think this is a little bit better, has a little bit more adjustment. So you can actually depress this to change the head size, which is cool. And then obviously it locks unless you depress it. And then it has, for the top of your head here, you've got this little thing, a bit like a cap, where you can just pop that out and I guess tighten it up to fit the top of your head a little bit better. One of the other things I noticed was it has this adjustment on the side here, so you can actually adjust how much it tilts down when it's down in front of your face, so you can move it around a little bit. So that was pretty cool. And to get the lens out, there's actually a locking mechanism here. You should be able to see that. You just pull that across, and then basically that'll just flip up. And I found that I had to do that to get the plastic that was on the front here to do that. So yeah, you can get the plastic cover that was off there because it was a little bit stuck in the edges. So you do need to just unhook that and remove all that plastic properly, and then just give your lens a bit of a wipe because you'll have touched it with your hands. So yeah, there we go. That's the helmet. Pretty impressed. Worth pointing out though is there's a setting at the top here, or a little dial in here. I'll see if I can get in there to have a little look. You've got a sensitivity knob and a delay knob. I know you can actually adjust some of the delay of when it goes dark. I don't know if that's when you finish welding or before. I think it's after you finish welding. Okay, so there's also an LED for low battery warning flash, and there's also says grind mode flash. So I'm not sure how the grind mode flash works, but just let you know it's actually in there. It also has a little battery, it looks like, just inside of here. If you can see just inside it looks like you can change a battery in there, and I believe that's for the sensor, the backup battery, so that's replaceable as well. Also, as a beginning welder, sometimes you don't really know what shade you need to use for different types of material. Now this is really important because you can get arc flash, you can damage your eyes, you can go blind. So it's not something you want to take lightly. So it goes through the different types of welding, whether you're doing sheet metal, etc., and what kind of amperage you're using at the top here. And then it gives you a recommended shade level to give you adequate protection for your eyes. So that's pretty cool. Worth pointing out, it does actually come with some replaceable lenses, and it looks like this one is possibly the inside here, and the other replaceable lens is the one maybe that goes on the inside towards the front. So there is a bit of a breakdown of how you can sort of take it apart and potentially replace the lenses, and there is a little table there of what all the different bits and pieces are. Okay, one of the things I wanted to look at is how you actually connect your wire. So to do that, you need to just pull this lever forward. So if you just pull it forward, and this will just pop up, and that'll sort of give you access to your little wire wheels. Not wire wheels, your V-groove washers. So you can take that off. Now you do get a couple of different V-groove washers. So when you actually do change the roller here, you'll have a number. So that one says 0.8 and this side says 0.9, so I'm putting 0.9 wire. You line up your little groove and then you just push it on. Oh, that was a little bit tricky to get on. Then you'll have your little locking screw here. Just make sure that doesn't come off. And if you look at the back here, you can see the rear groove is lined up with where the wire is going to come through. So it's going to come in here, come through, it's going to line up with the back groove there, and come through and out. See, out the front section. All right, everyone, so I got the welding stand has actually arrived. I've assembled it, I've put the wire and everything in the welder now, so we can have a quick look at that, just so you can see how this is set up. Okay, here's the welding cart. It's got my helmet and everything now in there. I didn't bother filming putting it together. I mean, it's just a few nuts and bolts. There's nothing special there. And we have a MIG gas bottle from, I got this from Bunnings. I think it was $100 plus a $200 deposit. It's for MIG welding, so that should be sufficient for what we're doing. I think it's a size D. And the welder's all plugged in and ready to go. You can see it's got some nice little hooks and stuff for the welder there, like for your welding handle. Another one on this side for your earth lead, and then a little bit of space for some accessories and stuff like that. And then we've got a regulator hooked up to the gas bottle now. This is how much pressure is in the bottle, and this is how much pressure I've got here. So just need to wind this up a little bit. I think if I wind it in, we go. If we want about 8 to 10, so that's about where we want it, right there. Okay, so here you can see we've got the MIG wire put in here. This is all being set up. I've set the tension up as what I think it needs, so I think it's okay, but we'll give it a go. And we're just going to run a few small tacks here, just on this sheet plate here I got from Bunnings. This is 1.6 mil. Now normally you'd probably wire wheel that or hit it with an angle grinder with a stripping disc, but I think just for what I'm going to do, just for playing around, we're just going to leave it. It's kind of late, and yeah, my neighbours are already kind of whinging that I make too much noise sometimes, so yeah, we'll just leave it because it's a bit late for tonight. We'll just have a bit of a crack on that and see how we go.
One of the other things worth pointing out as well is I've got a fire extinguisher as well now, so always good if you're welding, doing something. I work with fuel in the fuel tank and stuff like that. Never know if you need a fire extinguisher, so this will do, your flammable, your electrical and fuel-based fires. So if you ever get yourself into trouble, you're better off having something.
Alright, so I've had a crack at the welder. Obviously, I need a lot of practice. They don't look that great. I could show you quickly, but there's really not much point. I mean, for me, it was more about just giving it a go. I haven't actually tried welding for 20 odd years or more. And when I was doing it, it was stick welding. And I think I probably need to clean the surface of the steel as well, because they look they actually look shit. So anyway, here we go. Started my welding adventure as well. Once I have a bit of practice, I'll try that out. I'll play around with the settings. I'm not convinced the settings were right, but I really just wanted to have a go. And anyway, I'll keep going and let's see how we go. All right, after having a bit of a crack at taking off some of or just get my grinder out, just grinding off a bit of that surface, I gave it another crack, play around with some of the settings. Obviously, I've got a long way to go to get this right, but yeah, it's starting to make some ground. Still need quite a bit of practice, but let's have a look.
Okay, so here's the second time I was welding. Compared to the first ones, you can see these were quite spotty. I didn't grind or anything here. And you can see they're quite lumpy and yeah, it just didn't really work that well. Could have been my settings, but I think that it doesn't help having it not ground back. So here we go, you can see where I've ground it there. Just starting to make some not too bad welds here. I went kind of quite slow and you can see I've burnt through. And here I was playing around a bit more, moving a little bit quicker. Kind of looks a bit skinny in places, but yeah, just got to work on consistency.
Okay, so there we have it. There's the Unimig Viper 185. So, I'm just starting out welding really with MIG. Even though I have welded quite a long time ago, it was just a training course I did, and I only done a little bit of stick, and I was not too bad at that time, but it's been like 20 years since I was welding. So I can't recommend the welder in terms of experience because I don't really have any. So I can't tell you anything about that. And there is some people out there online who are really good. I'd check out Farming Life Australia. I think his name is John. He's actually got some really good videos on this welder as well. But as far as the starting welder and just being able to get it set up and going, yeah, I'm really happy with it. Obviously, there's a lot of learning on the settings and obviously the material, but I'm pretty excited to see where I can go with it and how I can use it to do some work on my car. All right, so if you've stuck around this long, I appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching. We've recently just hit 100 subscribers, and while it doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things, I do appreciate the 100 of you that have felt like it's worthwhile to watch my videos. I'm just a guy in his garage with no real trade qualifications or anything. I work in advertising, so this is just a bit of a hobby I do on the side. It's something I want to do to learn how to fix my own car. So thanks for watching. I hope you like it. If you have any questions about the Welder, you want to know anything about it in terms of from a beginner's point of view, let me know. And otherwise, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.